Lookalikes. You've heard about them and you've seen me implement them in the past, but how do they really work and what is the best strategy to use with lookalikes? Well, in this video, I'll break it down for you and tell you guys about a strategy that is working really, really well for Facebook ads with lookalikes for your Shopify dropshipping business. And it's been working for me ever since the start of this year. And I know this Chinese New Year happening, so I've not been able to scale as much. But in January, I was able to actually scale to a point where I was doing like $1,200 to $1,300 in ad spend using this exact strategy that I'm talking about. And nowadays, I'm actually getting a return on ad spend. Like yesterday, I had a return on ad spend of 6.62. Just think about that for a second. My tuber is actually around 1.9 to 2, and that's including all costs, everything that is included. And even after that, my return on ad spend is like 6.62, which is an insane amount of profit that was generated. I want to show you guys just the numbers that we're doing right now. Now, I wasn't able to scale properly because I had to scale, turn down my ads slightly because of Chinese New Year, because of inventory issues. But I will be starting to scale really, really quickly. As soon as the inventory issues get resolved, I'll get more inventory. And then I'll be just like scaling it to new heights like never seen before. But just so you know, just check this out. So when it comes to lookalikes, you've probably heard like lookalikes are one of the best ways to actually scale your Facebook ads and to actually get consistent profitability with your Shopify dropshipping business. And what happens with lookalikes is once you have enough purchases, you can start creating those purchase lookalikes. But even if you don't have purchase lookalikes, you can actually create view content and add to cart lookalikes. And even those start to get you some traction until you get enough purchases to actually run with those purchase lookalikes. Now that's of course the overall strategy. Now if you've not seen Businessathon 7, in which I actually explained all of like how I scaled using lookalikes. In fact, if you remember in the last few days of Businessathon 7, I actually did quite a lot of volume just using like the power of lookalikes, and that too just using 1 or 2 lookalike audiences. Now, the questions that most people have about lookalikes is like, one is what lookalikes to use, right? So you've got all these type of lookalikes that you can create 0 to 1%, 1 to 2%, 2 to 5%, 2 to 10%, like all these type of lookalikes that you can create. There's like a lot of permutations and combinations that you can create for every audience, like purchase, add to cart, and view content. But what I've seen, I've tested this thoroughly, and what I've seen that works best, and these are the lookalikes that you should first try off, are 0 to 1%, 0 to 2%, 0 to 3%, 0 to 4%, and 0 to 5%. All of these will be different lookalike audiences that you will create. And yes, there will be some overlapping in each of them, but they perform very differently. Now, there's no guarantee that a 0 to 1% will perform better than a 0 to 5%, because I've actually seen cases where sometimes 0 to 3% works the best, sometimes 0 to 5% works the best, and sometimes 0 to 1% works the best. So you've got these 5 lookalike audiences, right, that you want to start off with. But which ones do you actually scale, right? So that's the main question. Now, you have of course got one option where you can create like one campaign per lookalike audience. Inside that one campaign, there'll be one ad set, and that one lookalike audience will be inside that ad set, and that's what you'll be advertising. So in order to do that, you'll have to create 5 different campaigns. But this 2019 strategy that I'm talking to you guys about, that has been working incredibly well for me, and that is really scalable, is something that utilizes the power of campaign budget optimization, or CBO. And now what this does is that it helps you actually realize which lookalikes for your product are the best that are working. And then once you realize that, you can actually then pull out those lookalikes and then start creating unique campaigns just on the basis of those particular lookalikes. And the second thing that it does is, on its own, those CBO campaigns work very, very well because the budget is spent according to what is performing well on that day. Some days a 0 to 3% might be performing better, so Facebook is going to dump most of the budget on the 0 to 3%. Sometimes 0 to 1% works better, so Facebook will be dumping most of the budget to 0 to 1%. So here's the strategy that you should do when it comes to campaign budget optimization and lookalike audiences. The first CBO campaign you should create, and if you don't know about CBO, it's basically you're setting a budget at the campaign level and you're just creating ad sets, and then Facebook basically optimizes your campaign by allotting different budgets to each particular ad set based on how that ad set is performing. Now, because every ad set that we create inside the CBO campaign will just have one lookalike audience, so the strategy is basically you first create a CBO campaign with a budget of, let's say, $100. and you'll dump 5 ad sets into it, and each ad set will be, one of the ad sets will have 0 to 1%, the other ad set will have 0 to 2, the other 0 to 3, 0 to 4, and then 0 to 5%. Automatic bidding, everything is just plain simple. You'll use the same ad creative that's been working well for you, and then you'll see which particular ad set has performed incredibly well in comparison to all the others after, let's say, a 7-day period. Now, of course, in that 7-day period, the first 1 or 2 days with a CBO campaign is generally pretty fluctuating, but I've noticed by the 3rd day, the CBO campaigns on its own, like, they run very, very well, and you get incredible results with just your CBO campaign. So that is exciting news, guys. Now, in fact, I had created like 2 or 3 CBO campaigns based on lookalikes, and all of those 2-3 CBO campaigns were working very well at like a $300 per day budget. And that is how I was able to scale to like about 1.2K in ad spend per day. And I wanted to scale even further, and I was on the right track because my return on ad spend at that point was around 4. So I could actually scale even further, but then I started having those inventory issues. But I'm sure once that inventory issue gets resolved, then I'll be actually dumping a lot more budget into it, because I'm just basically raking in the profits right now. So what the next strategy is, once you've discovered like which of the particular ad sets with the audiences that you have is working the best, so you basically create a new campaign which is going to be a standard campaign with one ad set and that one audience that has worked the best for you, and you'll give that a budget of, let's say, $100, and you can actually scale the CBO campaigns in a way that was not previously recommended for, like, you know, your ad set campaign. So let's say you're at $100 budget per day with the CBO campaign, you can actually bump up the budget to $200 straight up. It won't have that much of an impact on your entire campaign right there. So I've actually bumped from 100 to 200 to 300. I wanted to go to 500, but by that point I started having inventory issues. But I'm pretty sure like you keep doing that, and all of these are on basically automatic bidding, right? So it's pretty easy to scale those campaigns. And of course, that this gets you to realize like which of your audiences, the lookalike audiences, are working the best for you, and you can create standalone campaigns and ad sets based off of those particular lookalike audiences. And another way we can get a lot better results is that each of those ad sets that you create, you can actually create manual bidding inside of those ad sets also. So you'll have a CBO campaign. Inside that, you'll have, let's say, 5 ad sets, and then you'll have manual bidding inside those ad sets based on the manual bid that, you know, has worked the best for you in the past. And suddenly you realize, all right, you have another new campaign that gets you even better results. So that is how, once you have all of these campaigns in place, then you can start to spend like anywhere between like $2,000, $3,000 and even more just with those campaigns that are actually working really well for you. Now, the other strategy that I want to talk to you about is actually diversifying your CBO campaigns. So the first CBO campaign you'll create is, of course, the 5 ad sets one, right? So let's say after 7 days, you realize, all right, the best performing ones were like 0 to 1, 0 to 3, and 0 to 5%. So what you would do is you would create another CBO campaign, another $100 budget CBO campaign with just those 3 ad sets with each of those 3 audiences, 0 to 1, 0 to 3, and 0 to 5%. And then you'll notice what happens. And then sometimes you'll notice 0 to 4 and 0 to 2% are doing better. So you'll create another CBO campaign with just those 2. So what this allows is that you can actually create a lot of different campaigns, all running CBO and all running a lot of different ad spends, and all of them working really well for you. Because what Facebook does is it actually realizes on a day-to-day basis which particular ad set and which particular audience is doing the best. It just basically dumps most of the budget into it, because if it's performing well, so it's better for Facebook to actually dump most of the budget into that particular ad set. So this helps you first figure out which of the audiences are working well for you, plus it helps you scale properly. So it's all around a winning strategy, and it's just been working incredibly well for me. So this is something that's working right now in 2019. So I hope you make use of this strategy and actually start scaling up. Now, even if you don't have those purchase lookalikes, you can actually start off the same strategy with your view content and add to cart lookalikes also. And then just once you have got enough purchases, 300, 500 purchases, the more you have, the better. If you have 10,000 purchases, of course, your lookalikes will perform much better than if you had just like 300 purchases. But that is how you are able to scale and reach those levels where you have like so many orders coming in, you don't know what to do with them. So I hope you enjoyed this strategy. If you did, just smash that like button below, and make sure you subbed and bell to the Flying Start online channel. Let me know in the comments below if you've been using the CBO strategy already in the past. I look forward to hearing from you. I'll see you in the next one. Until next time, okay, tata, bye bye.